Hi everyone, welcome back to DGMC. Diwane Galib, Meri Subani. To all our returning viewers, we are delighted you could join us again. And to the new viewers, we are happy you discovered the podcast and decided to tune in for the first time. Now, if you were with me in the previous episode, you know currently we are going through Ghazal 27 from Diwane Galib, Dard Minnat Kashe Dawa Na Hua. We have already covered the first two couplets. Today we are going to pick the third couplet. As always, I'm going to read the couplet first and then we will get into the keywords, concepts and the personal impression. So this is how it goes. हम कहाँ किस्मत आजमाने जाएं, हम कहाँ किस्मत आजमाने जाएं, तू ही जब खंजर आजमा ना हुआ. So let's do a quick approximate translation. हम कहाँ किस्मत आजमाने जाएं. Where can I go to test my destiny, my fate? Second line. तू ही जब खंजर आजमा ना हुआ. When you yourself are not going to become the dagger tester. As always, the approximate translation sounds a little strange, but hopefully by the time we are done with the impression, it will make more sense. So let's start picking keywords. Like we said in the previous episode, it's a very simple ghazal in terms of words, but let's pick a few which are critical to the couplet. First word, kismat. Kismat translates to fate, fortune, destiny, right? इस पे कतील शिफाई का ये शेर. हमें तो आज की शब पौ फटे तक जागना होगा, यही किस्मत हमारी है, सितारों तुम तो सो जाओ. बहुत प्यारी गज़ल है, आपने सुनी होगी. So the approximate translation is that I tonight will have to stay awake till the break of dawn. This is my destiny. This is my fate, to stay awake all night long. Stars, you, on the other hand, go ahead and sleep. Go ahead and sleep. जलील मनिकपुरी का ये शेर. रोज वो ख्वाब में आते हैं गले मिलने को, मैं जो सोता हूँ तो जाग उठती है किस्मत मेरी. Beautiful couplet. The approximate translation is every day, or we should say probably every night, they come in my dreams. Every night or every day they come in my dreams to embrace me. It almost seems that the moment I sleep, my destiny wakes up. Beautiful couplet. Beautiful couplet. So that is Kismat. Moving on to Azmane. हम कहाँ किस्मत आजमाने जाएं. So आजमाने is to try something out, to test something, to examine something, right? इस पे महरूल कादरी का ये शेर. अक्ल कहती है दोबारा आजमाना जाहिल है, अक्ल कहती है दोबारा आजमाना जाहिल है, दिल ये कहता है फरेबे दोस्त खाते जाइए. So the approximate translation is, the brain says that testing her a second time is foolishness, it is ignorance, it is stupidity. But the heart says that one should just continue getting deceived by that dear friend again and again. So let's put them to test one more time. कलीम आजिज़ का ये शेर. आजमाना है तो आ बाजुओ दिल की कुव्वत, तू भी शमशीर उठा हम भी गज़ल कहते हैं. Another good one. So the approximate translation is, if you have to test me, then come on. Come on, come over, my dearest confidant, my dearest companion. So bazuo dil ki kuwat is basically the strength of my arm, right? And my heart. Someone very dear, someone in your पहलू में जिसे कहते हैं, right? So आजमाना है तो आ बाजुओ दिल की कुवत, तू भी शमशीर उठा. You also pick up your sword. And हम भी गज़ल कहते हैं. And I will also start reciting my poetry. So a very interesting clash between the pen and the sword, right? And then शुजा खवार का ये शेर, खुदा को आजमाना चाहिए था, किसी का दिल दुखाना चाहिए था. Probably one of our most favorite from this episode. It's just a amazing couplet. So the approximate translation is, we should have put God to test. We should have tested God. We should have gone ahead and hurt somebody's heart. To test God, that is the sure short way, that you go ahead and hurt somebody's heart. You hurt an innocent heart. And then you will see the wrath of God. So that is Azmana. हम किस्मत कहाँ आजमाने जाएं. Now moving on to Azma, right? जब तू ही खंजर आजमा ना हुआ. Okay, let's pick Khanjar first since that comes first in the line. Khanjar is dagger, blade, right? A small knife that one would use for usually stabbing, very easily concealed because of the size, unlike a sword. इस पर अमीर मिनाई का शेर, खंजर चले किसी पे तड़पते हैं हम अमीर, सारे जहां का दर्द हमारे जिगर में है. So the approximate translation is, so no matter who is getting wounded, no matter who is getting hurt, I am the one who is turning and tossing in pain, as if the entire world's pain has come and resided in my heart. Beautiful couplet. दाग दहलवी का ये शेर, मुझे आता है क्या क्या रश्क, वक्ते जब उससे भी, गला जिस दम. I'm gonna try that again. मुझे आता है क्या क्या रश्क, वक्ते जब उससे भी, गला जिस दम लिपट कर खंजरे कातिल से मिलता है. Approximate translation is, how I envy my own neck in the face of my executioner, right? Or the one who is slaying me, when the dagger of my executioner finally embraces my neck. How I envy my neck, wishing it was me she was embracing, right? Rather than her dagger embracing my neck. It is a cause of envy. So that takes care of Khanjar. And then the last word, Asma. Khanjar, Asma. That is the word complex in our couplet today. Asma is a suffix that is used, which again, just like Azmane jaye, refers to testing. So, इस पे आलमा इकबाल का शेर, सितम हो कि हो वादाए बेहिजाबी. सितम हो कि हो वादाए बेहिजाबी, कोई बात सब्र आजमा चाहता हूं. Lovely couplet. The approximate translation is, be it torture or be it a promise of unveiling her face, I desire something that is going to test my patience. So that takes care of all the key words, Kismat, Azmane, Khanjar and Asma. Let's start getting into our impression. First line, हम कहाँ किस्मत आजमाने जाएं. Where do we go to test our destiny, to test our fate? Let's start with हम कहाँ किस्मत. So hum here is the lover, and kismat is of course the lover's own destiny, lover's own fate. So what is usually the destiny and fate for a lover, especially in Urdu poetry, right? Well, first things first, whatever that destiny or fate is, it is tied to the beloved. It is tied to the beloved. मुशफीक ख्वाजा का ये शेर, चश्मे खूबा के इशारों पे था जीना मरना, रोज बनते थे बिगड़ते थे मुकद्दर क्या क्या. One of our favorite couplets. The approximate translation is, on the glances and cues of the eyes of that beautiful fair one, the life and death itself depended. Every day, thanks to those glances, thanks to the cues, there were destinies that were made and there were destinies that were destroyed. Just a beautiful couplet to capture how little from the beloved is needed to transform the destiny of the lover completely. How little has how much of an impact, right? Just the glances, just the cues from her eyes were enough to destroy and make destinies every day, every day. So the lover desires to start, to continue, and to end their life wanting and waiting for the beloved. In the world of Urdu poetry, due to unrequited love, the lover will rarely get a chance to achieve actual union with the beloved in his lifetime. But having said that, the end to lover's life is an outcome that can be wished for, that can be anticipated by the lover despite unrequited love, right? Because the lover's funda is very simple. Beloved, since you don't love me, right, can you go ahead and end my life for me, right? Since my entire life all you have sent my way is unrequited love, you have put in such a lot of effort in making me understand that you do not care for me, you do not love me, you are not vested in me. So can you grant me this one wish? Let me end my life at your hands, by your hands. So that is the funda that is playing in the background behind the lover wanting his destiny to be fulfilled by his end being dished out to him from the beloved. हफीज जलंधरी का बहुत प्यारा शेर, लो बन गई तकदीर, लो बन गई तकदीर, लो चल गई शमशीर. गजब का शेर है, गजब का शेर है. So the approximate translation is, there you go, the destiny is finally fulfilled. There you go, the sword has finally waved, or the sword has finally slayed, right? And the sword, of course, is in the hands of the beloved. So a very, very, very nice couplet to capture how the destiny gets fulfilled for the lover, and what role the beloved plays in it. लो बन गई तकदीर, लो चल गई शमशीर. मिर्ज़ा अस्मान जह अंजुम का ये शेर, हमें बेमौत क्यों मारा अजल, तू किस लिए आई, हवाए बोसाए शमशीर कातिल हम भी रखते थे. So again the same sentiment. The approximate translation is, why did you kill me, death, why did you arrive? Why did you kill me, death? Why did you arrive? We also were harboring the desire to be kissed by the sword of the murderer, of the slayer we wanted, which is the beloved. We were also harboring the desire to be killed by her sword, not by you. Death, we did not want to get killed by you like any normal person. We were we were wishing and hoping to fulfill our destiny by getting killed by the kiss of her sword. And death, why did you arrive and rob us of that opportunity? मुंशी शिव प्रसाद वहाबी का ये शेर। अदा हो सजदा मेहराब खमे शमशीर कातिल में, अदा हो सजदा मेहराब खमे शमशीर कातिल में, किया अपने लहू से इसलिए हमने वजू बरसों। The approximate translation is so that a prayer would be submitted to the curvature of the sword of my executioner. I have been offering and doing ablutions with my own blood. So, just putting the sword of the beloved at the level of what they are worshipping. And every time they are worshipping that sword, they are not using water for ablutions, they are using their own blood for ablutions. So that one day, that sword that they have worshipped will finally grant them their prayer, which is to slay them. So, all these couplets to set the strange but very intense phenomena playing in the background of this couplet, where the lover has this intense desire to be killed at the hands of the beloved. The lover in Urdu poetry has a very different take on life and death. Very different take. First thing first, for lover, both life and death have to be intrinsically attached to the beloved. Both of them. Life that does not include the beloved, death that does not include the beloved, is of no interest, no importance to the lover. He is not interested in a life that does not have beloved as its focus. He is not interested in a death that does not have beloved at its center. Unlike normal people, the lover actually craves to have his end at the hands of the beloved. For the lover, it is his destiny fulfillment if he meets his end at the hands of the beloved. And this joy, this elation, this strong, intense desire of the lover to die at the hands of the beloved, well, no one catches it the way Ghalib does. Ghalib does not shy away from glorifying the lover's death at the hands of the beloved. The level of joy, the level of desire for this that Ghalib brings is probably unmatched. Nobody talks about it the way Ghalib does. अब आप उनका ये शेर देखें। आता है मेरे कत्ल को पर जोश रश्क से, मरता हूं उसके हाथ में तलवार देख कर. So the approximate translation is, I can see her approaching me with an enthusiasm and a fervor of murder. I can see my murderer approaching me, which is the beloved, with such enthusiasm, such fervor, and I am already dying. I'm already feeling my life leave me as I see the sword in her hands. The sheer joy, the sheer expectation of this moment is so great that she has not even arrived. Forget about slaying me, she has not even arrived fully to me, but just watching her approach me with a sword in her hand is just a feeling which is outwardly. Now, दूसरा शेर मिर्जा गालिब का, रहे ना जां तो कातिल को खूं बहा दीजिए, कटे ज़बां तो खंजर को मरहबा कहिए. We have covered this couplet. So the approximate translation is, If you are murdered by someone, and here the someone is beloved, then instead of the murderer paying you blood money, you pay the murderer blood money because you are so happy to be murdered by them. And to the dagger that has cut off your tongue, even without your tongue being there anymore, say thank you to that dagger. Now, if you think about the emotion, right? I mean, in the first take, it will just not make sense. How can you feel like this, right? About your executioner, about your murderer. And that is where we say the way Ghalib talks about this sentiment, which is anyway very difficult to understand by a normal human mind, right? Which is driven by logic. But the way Ghalib talks about it is just so different. It is at a totally different level compared to probably the rest. And then another one from Ghalib, same sentiment. आज वहाँ तेगो कफन बांधे हुए जाता हूँ मैं, उज्र मेरे कत्ल करने में वो अब लावेंगे क्या? Covered this ghazal, we have covered this couplet. So the approximate translation is that today I am going to go to her place with the sword attached to my waist and my head covered with the shroud cloth. With all preparation I will go. The sword should be given, the sword is supposed to be with the beloved. But Ghalib is saying, I will bring the sword also. And then I will see what excuse she will make for not killing me. I will eliminate room for any and every excuse. And I will say, beloved, everything is here. I am here. The sword is here. After that, I will need a shroud or kafan. That also I have bought. Now, please do not make any more excuses. Go ahead and give me my dearest long-held desire. Kill me. Slay me. Let me have my end at your hands, by your hands. So that is Ghalib capturing the sentiment. Just wanted to bring to your attention the level at which he does it, right? The level at, and like we say, always say about Ghalib, he doesn't shy. He doesn't bother whether it doesn't make sense to you, whether you can find a logic. No. This is the sentiment, this is the intensity. Take it or leave it. If you can't understand it, that is your problem. But Ghalib is not going to temper down the intensity for anyone. Ghalib is not going to shy or hesitate to deep dive into the strangest, the deepest, the darkest of emotions. Enough about Ghalib. Other poets have also done much justice to this sentiment. फैज़ अहमद फैज़ का ये शेर, किसको शिकवा है गर शौक के सिलसिले, किसको शिकवा है गर शौक के सिलसिले, हिज्र की कत्ल गाहों से सब जा मिले. कितना प्यारा शेर. Approximate translation is, who is ever going to complain if all these caravans of desire ultimately go and merge with the execution places or execution houses of separation. So by extension, when has a lover ever complained? When his desires, lifelong desires, finally culminate into getting slayed or executed by the beloved. No lover complains. A lover is very happy. That is exactly where he wants his desires to go and end and meet and converge with the beloved. He has no complaints. Maulana Muhammad Ali Jauhar का ये शेर, दौरे हयात आएगा कातिल कज़ा के बाद, दौरे हयात आएगा कातिल कज़ा के बाद, है इब्तिदा हमारी तेरी इंतिहा के बाद. Another beautiful couplet. My lifetime will get initiated only after the death given to me by my murderer. So basically, by extension, beloved, when you end my life, that is when my actual life starts, right? बहादुर शाह जफर का ये शेर, किया जो कत्ल मुझे तुमने खूब काम किया, किया जो कत्ल मुझे तुमने खूब काम किया, कि मैंने अजाब से छूटा, कि मैं अजाब से छूटा, तुम्हें सवाब हुआ. The approximate translation is, the fact that you killed me is a great feat indeed, is a great act from you indeed, because what it has achieved is, it has freed me from my pain and my grief, and for that it has given you the blessings, right? The blessings that you will receive blessings for freeing me from pain and grief. The lover is actually born ready for this moment, this end, this death, as long as it is the beloved who is delivering it. That is the only caveat. The lover is not wanting death per se. The lover is wanting death at the hands of the beloved. It's a very specific desire. It's a very specific destiny that the lover wants to fulfill. कलीम आजिज का ये शेर, वो आए कत्ल को जिस रोज चाहें, वो आए कत्ल को जिस रोज चाहें, यहाँ किस रोज तैयारी नहीं है. Beautiful couplet. The approximate translation is, they can come to murder me and slay me any day they want. There is no day at this end where I am not prepared to be murdered by her. For the lover, after bearing a long life without the beloved, where he continued to wait and want, now to go through death without the beloved is unthinkable. It is a misfortune which is too much to bear. Again, Mirza Ghalib captures this beautifully. हाथ ही तेग आजमा का काम से जाता रहा, दिल पे एक लगने ना पाया जख्म कारी, हाय हाय. And the day you understand the hi, you understand the disappointment, the despair, the misfortune that the couplet captures. You have to feel the hi. So the approximate translation is, हाथ ही तेग आजमा का काम से जाता रहा. The hand of the sword handler itself kept reducing in its power and ability to hold the sword. दिल पे एक लगने न पाया जख्म कारी, and hence my heart did not receive even a single effective, mortal, fatal wound. Alas, alas, what a loss, what a miss. She had the sword, she agreed to kill me, she attacked me with the sword, but the fact that her hand that held the sword did not have enough power, all the attacks done on me were futile. Not even a single fatal wound that could kill me. Alas, alas, hi, what a waste, what a loss. जिस तरह से गालिब is capturing that disappointment of not getting even one fatal wound, it is clear that the ultimate desire is that the beloved should be the reason for the death, should be the conduit of the death, right? Otherwise it is a big loss. Okay, so now that we have established what kind of destiny and fate or kismat the lover is chasing, let's move to the remaining part of the first line. Kahan aazmane jaye? Where as a lover do I take this destiny to test it out? And test it out as in, will it get fulfilled or not? By extension, this destiny of wanting to be killed at the hands of the beloved, this destiny of ending my life at the hands of the beloved, where do I go to test this out? Well, If the destiny is to be killed by the beloved, then to test this destiny, the lover will need to go to the beloved. Right? True to his style, though Ghalib crafts the first line as a question, Kahan aazmane jaye? Where should I go? The answers are hidden in the question itself. That is a typical Ghalib style, right? In this question, there are two answers hidden. Number one, Kahan jaye? Where do I go? Well, the answer to that is go to the beloved. And then the second answer will become evident when we get to the second line. We will come to it in a bit. But for now, the first line, Hum kahan kismat aazmane jaye. So a very clear picture about what kind of kismat and destiny the lover is actually chasing and talking about in this couplet. And then how, though crafted as a question, the first line says, the only place I can test out my destiny, beloved, is at your hands, is with you. Let's move on to the second line. Oops. तू ही जब खंजर आसमाना हुआ. When you yourself did not become a dagger tester. Tu in the second line is referring to the beloved. Asma, like we said many times, is used as a suffix to keywords in an interesting style in Urdu poetry. Shairs use asma to detail when something or someone is getting tested. आपने सुना होगा sabr आजमा, patience tester, somebody who's testing your patience. Ulfat आजमा, love tester, somebody who's testing your love. Zor आजमा, right? Somebody who is testing your force, your strength. And then of course in today's couplet we have khanjar आजमा, somebody who is going to test the dagger. Now, dagger tester. So we were expecting that this will be dagger user, right? Dagger, somebody who waves the dagger, somebody who uses the dagger to slay. But dagger tester was a kind of a unique concept for us. So true to DGMZ spirit, we went into circles, did some research, dug around to figure out what is this dagger testing all about, right? Why did Ghalib say dagger tester? So we found out that not exactly dagger testing, but sword testing. So all these are blades, right? Dagger is also a blade, sword is also a blade, small blade, big blade, but basically the same type of weapon. So we found out that sword testing per se is a huge thing. It is a huge thing, and it has roots that delve deep into history, and it combines both art and science. Back in the Edo period, the Japanese samurai would put their swords to the test in various ways. For them, a sword wasn't just a weapon. It was an extension of their very soul. Every sword had to stand up to the rigors of battle. But the practice wasn't just about strength. It was about aesthetics, craftsmanship, and functionality. In a way, every sword told a story, and testing it would determine the quality of that story. There is a word called Taemshigiri. Taemshigiri. Okay, I might be pronouncing it wrong, but Taemshigiri is a Japanese practice of test cutting used to evaluate the quality and sharpness of a sword, especially a katana. It involves cutting through various materials, typically rolled straw mats or bundled straw, to assess the blade's edge. Taemshigiri serves two main purposes. Number one, testing the sword quality, which will allow sword makers to assess the blade's sharpness, hardness, and overall cutting ability. Number two, testing the practitioner skill, which will allow to evaluate the samurai's proficiency in using the sword. Temeshigiri was particularly important during the Edo period, when swordsmanship and sword quality were highly valued. Only the most skilled swordsmen were chosen to test swords, so that the swordsman's skill was not questionable in determining how well the sword cut. Like we said, the materials used to test swords varied and included rice straw, woven rush mats, bamboo, and thin steel sheets. In addition, there was a wide variety of cuts used on cadavers and occasionally convicted criminals. Tabigata, ankle cut, to okesa, diagonal cut from shoulder to opposite hip. The names of the types of cuts on cadavers detailed exactly where on the body the cut was made. Older swords can still be found which have inscriptions like 5 bodies with Ru Guruma, hip cut. Such an inscription, known as Tameshi Me or Saiden Me, basically cutting signature, would add greatly to a sword's value, compensating the owner somewhat for the large sums of money typically charged for the test. Now, in modern times, the practice of Temeshigiri has come to focus on testing the swordsman's abilities rather than the sword's cutting capability. Targets today are typically made from goza, the top layer of the traditional tatami floor covering, either bundled or rolled into a cylindrical shape. They may be soaked in water to add density to the material to approximate density of flesh. Green bamboo is used to approximate bone density. Now, it wasn't just in Japan, even European swordsmanship had its test too, whether it was thrusting at steel sheets or cutting through wood. Each region had its methods and standards. A sword's performance during these tests would determine its place in history, be it in battles, duels, or ceremonies. The sword's quality had to be impeccable. After coming across that background concept, I would not even call it a concept, a tradition, a revered tradition, an art form, a science, a scientific, artistic form, right? It was very enlightening. And suddenly this thing, right, Khanjar Azma, started to make sense. So, yes, if you are using a blade, especially in olden times, the blade had to be put through test for efficiency. You would not want to use a blade that was not that had not passed rigorous testing, because you do not get a second chance. In olden times, like they very rightly said, battles, duels, I mean, there is no second chance, right? You cannot be stuck with a blade that does not work. People do not do it for game and sports, right? It was a matter of life and death in olden times. So yes, that criticality now starts making sense. This brief background just helps us understand the focus and age-old tradition and value that rests on the shoulders of testers who were testing swords or daggers, or for that matter any blade, right, for its efficiency. It somehow seems, at least in DGMZ's humble opinion, that Ghalib weaves this time-tested tradition in today's couplet and reinvents the beloved's role, in an interesting way. As we know, typically in Urdu poetry, the beloved is the qatil, which translates to the murderer, the slayer, the executioner, who is going to kill or slay the lover. But in today's couplet, Ghalib has changed the background, right? He has changed the background for the murder of the lover by the beloved. Though the act of beloved killing or slaying the lover is still going to happen, Ghalib in today's couplet describes it as an act of a skilled marksman testing their highly respected, highly valued tool for its efficacy and efficiency. And like we read a few minutes back, that for Japanese samurai, their sword wasn't just a weapon, it was an extension of their very soul. It almost similarly seems that the sword or the dagger are a natural extension of the beloved in her role as an executioner or murderer of the lover. हफीज बनारसी का ये शेर, उसे करीब से देखा तो ये हुआ मालूम उसे करीब से देखा तो ये हुआ मालूम, वो बुए गुल नहीं, शमशीरे बादे सरसर है. The approximate translation is, when I finally came close to her, and when she was far away, it was as if I was perceiving her as fragrance emanating from a flower. But as she kept coming closer, I could start feeling the intensity. And by the time she was face to face with me, I realized this is no fragrance of flower. This is a sharp wind that has an edge as sharp as sword itself. The lover wants to be the test case for the beloved, so that she can test the sharpness of her dagger on him. Right? He wants to he wants to volunteer that, beloved, you have to test your blade like any expert marksman, right? I want to die at your hands. Why don't we create a synergy here, right? Use me as your test material, right? No straw mats, no bundled straw, no water soaked mats or steel sheets. The lover eagerly begs the beloved, use me to test the efficiency of your dagger. That way you will get to complete your test, and in the same vein you will also grant me my long awaited wish of getting killed by your hands. For the lover, it would be a dream come true if the beloved was to slay him or kill him. And like we said, nobody captures it better than Ghalib. उनका ये शेर, इशरते कत्ल गाहे अहले तमन्ना मत पूछ, ईदे नजारा है शमशीर का उरिया होना. This couplet always leaves a strange impact on me. I don't know whether it comes across like that to you, but the visualization, and I think Ghalib is the Van Gogh of Urdu poetry. He paints a picture for you, and this is the picture this couplet paints for me. A long, a wide execution place, dark night, right? Dark night, it's all dark, it's a huge ground for execution, open ground for execution, and all these lovers are of course in the execution pose, bended on their knees. Here comes the beloved, right? And she stands in front of the lover and draws her sword out of the sheath. And that act of drawing the sword out of her sheath is seen by the lover, who is already kneeling down to be executed. And when he sees that sword, because the sword is above his head level, he is kneeling down to be executed. When he sees that sword come out, he thinks it is the moon of Eid itself. What a visualization, what a depiction, right? Just to drive home the fact that the way Muslims feel the joy on Eid when they see the moon after such a long wait is the same joy a lover who is bending down, kneeling down to be executed in a dark execution place feels when the beloved draws her sword out of the sheath. The curvature of the sword reminds him of the new moon of Eid. Okay, so clearly the lover has plans of offering himself as the test case for beloved as she tests out her dagger. But in the second line, Ghalib captures the fact that the beloved has decided to not go through with her testing. जब तू ही खंजर आजमा ना हुआ. She has decided not to do the testing of her dagger. And this has come as a huge disappointment for the lover, since it has closed the opportunity for the lover to offer himself as a test case for beloved's dagger testing. मिर्जा गालिब का फिर से शेर. कत्ल का मेरे किया है अहद तो बारे, वाय अगर अहद उस्तवार नहीं है. Approximate translation is, Dear beloved, you have made a promise to me that you will slay me. What joy, what gladness I feel on that promise. But then, what if your promise lacks the strength, lacks the metal? And of course, the wordplay is such that it brings to mind the sword. So you have promised that you will kill me with the sword. But what if your promise is not as strong as your sword? Alas, alas, why, right? That would be truly sad. That would be truly sad. I really hope that your promise has the same metal to it like your sword, so that you go ahead, fulfill your promise and slay me. So that takes care of the second line. तू ही जब खंजर आजमा ना हुआ, हम कहाँ जाएं? Where should I go if you, beloved, decide that you do not want to do a dagger test? Now, let's step back and look at the couplet in totality. Ghalib has used this couplet in multiple ways to give out multiple messages. Here are a few of them. First, Ghalib brings both the beloved and the lover in one frame, doing one thing in sync, bringing a harmony to both roles. Both roles are testing something very dear, something that is an integral part of them. The beloved is testing her dagger, the lover is testing his destiny. Then, in his unmatched style, Ghalib draws the sharp contrast between what both are testing. The beloved is testing the efficiency of her weapon to kill, whereas the lover is testing his destiny to be killed by the beloved. Ghalib somehow achieves this intertwining of destinies of the lover and beloved in an intricate dance which beats all logic and makes one marvel at the unsatiable desire of the lover to connect to the beloved in some way, in any way, in every way. And then lastly, one needs to admire the wordplay that happens between Azmane in the first line and Azma in the second line. The wordplay is more than wordplay, since it beautifully depicts how the lover's fate, both in his life and in his death, is dependent on the beloved, and how the beloved plays a critical role in the fulfillment of lover's destiny, both in his life and in his death. So, though the visualization is all about execution and slaying and dagger, that is the tip of the iceberg. The actual iceberg, deep down, submerged and hidden, is the fact that the lover, like we said, unlike normal people who in their destiny who will test their destiny for so many things, right? Who will want to azmao their kismat for so many things, for success, for money, for career, yes, for love also. But the lover, he comes with a very single minded focus. There is only one type of destiny he's interested in, and that is living with the beloved, or living, waiting, and wanting the beloved, and then dying at the hands of the beloved. And if for that he has to request her, pray to her, become her test, become her test material for dagger testing, whatever it takes. There are no rules, there are no limits. He will do anything and everything to ensure that his end is from her hands and nobody else. Nobody else, no other way. Okay, so that takes care of the impression for हम कहाँ किस्मत आजमाने जाएं, तू ही जब खंजर आजमान ना हो. T. Now we will end the episode with a small ghazal by Amir Amir. The title is अगर ये कह दो बगैर मेरे नहीं गुजारा तो मैं तुम्हारा. So this is how it goes. अगर ये कह दो बगैर मेरे नहीं गुजारा तो मैं तुम्हारा, या उस पे माबनी कोई तासूर, कोई इशारा तो मैं तुम्हारा. गुरूर परवर, अना का मालिक, कुछ इस तरह के हैं नाम मेरे, मगर कसम से जो तुमने एक नाम भी पुकारा तो मैं तुम्हारा. तुम अपनी शर्तों पे खेल खेलो, मैं जैसे चाहे लगाऊं बाजी. अगर मैं जीता तो तुम हो मेरे, अगर मैं हारा तो मैं तुम्हारा. तुम्हारा आशिक, तुम्हारा मुखलिस, तुम्हारा साथी, तुम्हारा अपना. रहा ना इनमें से कोई दुनिया में जब तुम्हारा तो मैं तुम्हारा. तुम्हारे होने के फैसले को मैं अपनी किस्मत पे छोड़ता हूं. अगर मुकद्दर का कोई टूटा कभी सितारा तो मैं तुम्हारा. ये किस पे तावीज़ कर रहे हो, ये किसको पाने के हैं वजीफे. तमाम छोड़ो बस एक कर लो जो इस्तिखारा तो मैं तुम्हारा. अगर ये कह दो बगैर मेरे नहीं गुजारा तो मैं तुम्हारा, या उस पे माबनी कोई तासुर, कोई इशारा तो मैं तुम्हारा. That brings us to the end of the episode. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, do share your comments and feedback. Let us know what you thought of the episode. Now, for the new viewers, a strong recommendation. Please go through the episode titled Introduction to DGMZ, because that will give you a good insight into the motivation, the inspiration behind this podcast. And for our regular viewers, whenever you have time, do visit the homepage. As you know, we have playlists created. Surf through them, pick the episodes that interest you. We do have the DGMZ Bites coming in every Wednesday. Hopefully you are enjoying them. Let us know. We are keen to hear your feedback on them. The viewers that have taken the effort and time to give us feedback on them, we really appreciate it. Also, if you can, join us on Facebook. All the information should be in the end screen. Now, I think I will go ahead and end the episode, as always, by sending a lot of love and light to all you dear viewers, and thanks for watching.